Cagayan Vice Mayor Romel Alameda was traveling with 5 others to attend the Vice Mayor's League in Manila when they were ambushed in the town of Bagabag in Nueva Vizcaya.
Sana po magamit po ang video na ito para sa mabilis na pagresolba sa kasong ito at nananawagan nga po ako na sana ay for deeper investigation dito sa video ito.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. The big story tonight.
The family of slain Apari Cagayan Vice Mayor Romel Alameda has gotten hold of footage of the ambush, which they hope could help fast-track investigations.
Relatives of the victims say the case isn't moving fast enough. That's why they are now seeking the help of the National Bureau of Investigation. Elaine Fulgencio with the big story.
A series of gunshots were heard in the morning of February 19 in Bagabag, Nueva Vizcaya. Turns out it was a fatal ambush on Apari Cagayan Vice Mayor Romel Alameda and 5 of his companions. In an exclusive video obtained from News 5 sources, unidentified gunmen opened fire on the black van of Vice Mayor Alameda. The vehicle rammed into a barricade, but the gunmen did not stop shooting. The family of the slain Vice Mayor hopes that the video will help fast-track investigations.
Sana po magamit po ang video na ito para sa mabilis na pagresolba sa kasong ito at nananawagan nga po ako na sana ay for deeper investigation dito sa video ito. Sana po makatulong talaga ito para dito sa ikakaresolba ng ating kaso.
The Nueva Vizcaya PNP has since formed a special investigation task group to look into the killing, but the families of the victims are not satisfied with how the case is going. That's why they reached out to the NBI Region 2.
Mabagal na po ang investigasyon ng ating mga kapulisan. Kaya nananawagan po ako sa ating mahal na Pangulo na sana utusan o magbigay po siya ng direktiba sa NBI na gumawa na rin po ng parallel investigation tungkol sa kasong ito para po mapadali ang kaso.
Meanwhile, the police have denied reports that uniformed personnel are behind the ambush. They have also identified the registered owner of the getaway vehicle used in the ambush and have traced its license plate to the Nueva Vizcaya State University. For its part, the university says that the vehicle in question has not been in their custody since March 2019. Upon verification, authorities also found that the license plate used was fake. Investigations and fact-finding efforts continue to determine more information about the killing. Reporting for News 5, Elaine Fulgencio, PR1 News.
Rescue teams are closing in on the crash site of the Cessna plane that went missing over the weekend. The wreckage has been located some 350 meters from the crater of Mayon volcano, which is currently under alert level 2 or moderate level unrest. This means that steam explosions could happen at any given time. Apart from possible volcanic unrest, rescuers are also having a hard time coping with Mayon's terrain. Possible rainfall could also generate lahar or mud flows, which could affect search and rescue operations.
Ginagawa natin, minamadali natin. Pero siyempre, inisip din natin yung safety ng rescuer natin. Kasi yung terrain niya, sabi ko kung buti kung dyan lang yan sa kalsada, madali pulutin yun. Pero ito, nasa crater, malapit sa crater ng Mayon, kaya nahirapan tayo.
Meanwhile, it has also been almost a month since another Cessna plane went missing en route to Maconacon Airport in Isabela Province. Until now, the plane or its wreckage is yet to be found. We have with us over Zoom Ana Camatoy. She's the mother of 2 passengers who were in that Cessna plane. Welcome to the big story, Ana.
Magandang gabi po sa lahat ng nakakapanood ng One News.
Magandang gabi po sa inyo. Salamat po sa oras ninyo. Ano pong huling balita ninyo dito sa search operations? May development po ba?
So nag-stop po sila Monday. Sabi po nila because of the weather uli, bumaba na daw po lahat ng mga rescuers. So until now, wala pa po akong balita. Sabi nila hindi pa din daw po nagre-resume ang search and rescue as of today.
Okay, sabi po ng mga lokal, meron po silang nakita na parang debris doon nga po sa barangay Sapinit, sa Divilacan. Tapos meron din pong nakakita naman ng parang eroplano na in distress. Ano po yung sa tingin po ninyo, putting everything together, saan po kaya pinakamalapit at pinakamalaking tsansa na mahanap po sila?
Sa lahat ng mga information na nakalap ko sa iba't ibang tao, sabi po nila sa Pinit daw po yung pinaka-definite na kung nasaan daw po yung family ko ngayon.
Sana in the meantime po, mag-iisang buwan na po. Maliban po dito sa patuloy na search operations, may tulong naman po bang naipapaabot sa inyo?
Actually, ang tulong lang po na meron silang naipaabot ay yung pamilya ko na nasa Isabela ngayon. Sila po yung nandoon na naghihintay para kung sakali man po na hanap na po sila and ma-rescue, sila po yung nandoon na naghihintay ngayon sa Kawayan po. So far, wala naman po kahit anong tulong na inilalapit sa akin ngayon.
Samantala po, ano pong pinangahawakan nyo? Paano nyo po pinapatibay ang loob nyo? Mag-iisang buwan na po.
Actually, ang hirap na po eh. Nag-hold on na lang ako kasi meron pa akong 2 years old. So araw-araw parang torture, gabi-gabi. Pinipilit ko po pumasok araw-araw para kahit paano. Hindi ko po maisip yung mga nangyayari ngayon kasi hanggang ngayon sabi ko parang panaginip lang. Parang panaginip pa rin yung nangyayari eh. Parang sabi ko nga, hindi totoo yung nangyayari na to sa pamilya ko. So ngayon po talaga pinangahawakan ko na lang yung natitira pang pamilya na meron ako. Nandyan pa sila, umaasa pa rin sa akin, lalo na yung 2 years old ko ngayon. Siya po yung kasama ko ngayon dito sa bahay lang, kaming dalawa. So napakahirap po talaga na maghintay kasi isang buwan na nga po.
Nanay, meron po ba kayong panawagan sa gobyerno dito nga po sa nangyayaring search and rescue operations, pati po sa tulong na kailangan po ninyo?
So from the beginning po talaga humingi na ako ng tulong. Kahit nga po sa ibang bansa sinabi ko sa kanila baka naman po pwedeng humingi na rin kami tulong sa mga karating na bansa na pwedeng tumulong sa amin. From US po, from kung sino man po ang bansa na gusto tumulong sa search and rescue dahil alam naman po natin na Philippines are not capable enough sa ganitong rescue. Inamin din naman po namin nila sa akin na hindi sila capable for this kind of terrain na meron ng makunahon. Ang sa akin po kasi kung hindi sila capable, gusto ko po sa dumudulog na rin ako kay Pangulo. Sa Pangulo natin, kay BBM po, kay Sara Duterte, sa ating Vice President po, na sana po tulungan na rin nila kami kasi parang hindi na kaya nung LGU sa Kawayan kung ano po yung expenses ata ang nangyayari or kung ano pong problema nila kasi gawa nga rin din po ng panahon. Parang tingin ko po sa haba ng panahon, parang pagod na rin naman kasi po yung mga volunteers ngayon. Sana po magkaroon po ng tulong na galing na po sa kay President po. Yun po ang hinihiling ko na sana magpadala na rin po sila ng iba't ibang NGOs, LGUs na pwede pong tumulong na maghanap po kasi one month na po talaga nag-aalala na po ko dun sa 10 years old ko kung kumakain ba siya o kung ano pong nangyayari. Napakasakit po minsan. Gusto ko na nga pong pumunta. Ako na po mismo yung maghanap. Para lang po sabi ko sana kung nasaan man sila.
Ma'am, sapat po ba yung pakikipag-communicate po ng LGU po sa inyo, pati po itong search and rescue team? Saan po, nakikita po ninyo, saan pong banda po sila nahihirapan?
Alam ko naman po hirap sila sa panahon kasi yun lang po lagi nilang inaangkwa sa akin, malamig doon, laging umuulan, laging may bagyo, so paiba-iba po yung weather. From the beginning, yun po lagi ang sinasabi nila sa akin. Yung panahon lagi, yung weather po ang laging nagiging problema nila for the FL search and yun nga sa ground search po.
Well, Ana, maraming salamat. Alam naming mahirap ang pinagdaraanan nyo ngayon, pero kasama nyo kami sa pagmamatsyag. Sana nga magkaroon ng development dito. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you po.
And coming right up, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, gets overwhelming support from the Senate. That and more when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. You're watching the big story here on One News.
The Senate has ratified the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, but some groups remain unconvinced that the measure could improve the country's trade position. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez with this report.
20 senators voted in favor of the RCEP, the biggest free trade agreement in the world. 10 countries in ASEAN are members of the RCEP, as well as 5 free trade partners: Australia, China, New Zealand, Japan, and South Korea. The RCEP allows an increase in more relaxed trade between member states. That's through the lowering or elimination of tax or tariffs in exported products except for rice, sugar, onions, and some kind of vegetables and meat. Despite this, Senator Risa Hontiveros voted against the measure, citing losses in potential revenues.
It would lose tariff revenues of US $58 million per year. The calculations for me are simple, Mr. President. Dapa na po ang ating agrikultura. Hindi pa tayo nakakaahon sa pandemya. This is not the time for RCEP.
Presidential sister and Senator Amy Marcos, on the other hand, abstained, citing how the measure could affect farmers and fishermen.
Pahintulutan ninyo akong hindi lumahok sa botohang ito. Di dahil umiiwas sa katungkulan, kundi hanggang sa panahong ito, bigo pa rin ang nakararami sa bukid.
Still, more than two-thirds of the chamber voted in favor of the trade deal. Government officials supported their decision. In last night's JCI Economic Forum, Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual underscored the RCEP's benefits.
Our efforts to industrialize the country and to increasing the size of our economy through trade. And RCEP opens the possibility. RCEP is not a magic deal. It signals only the start of a competitive process. Our industries must compete to be able to harvest the full benefits of RCEP.
But according to agricultural group SINAG, the Philippines is not yet ready to enter the deal.
Yung buong konsepto kasi ng pagpapaliwanag ng ating government is that if you don't join, we lose the opportunity. Ang sinasabi natin, ang pagsali ay hindi nakabatay sa unahan. Ang pagsali ay nakabatay sa kahandaan. Unfortunately, we have not prepared for the past 30 years.
SINAG believes that even without the RCEP, the Philippines can still be attractive in terms of trade by lowering tariffs. But for the National Development Authority or NEDA, the RCEP can help boost the country's economy.
So by being a member, we are saying to the world that we are ready for business. We are welcome here. We play the rules of the game, and your investment is safe with us. Yung mga concern naman na ma-disadvantage yung some sectors natin na agrikultura, hindi totoo yun. Yung mga agrikultura natin ay well protected.
Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
Defense Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. spoke with his U.S. counterpart Lloyd Austin over, quote, concerning developments in the South China Sea. Among those discussed by the two defense chiefs is the recent incident in which China pointed a military-grade laser at a Philippine Coast Guard ship. Austin reiterated U.S.'s commitment to support the Philippines' lawful rights in the West Philippine Sea. Austin and Galvez also discussed proposals to deepen operational cooperation and enhance the shared security of the two nations. Meanwhile, the Philippines and Australia are considering joint patrols in the West Philippine Sea. Australian Defense Minister Richard Marles confirmed this in a joint press briefing with Galvez. The two discussed plans to strengthen security ties, and one way to achieve this is through joint maritime patrols in the disputed waters.
As countries which are committed to the global rules-based order, it is natural that we should think about ways in which we can cooperate in this respect. And so we did talk today about the possibility of exploring joint patrols, and we will continue that work, and we hope that that comes to fruition soon.
Individual operators of traditional jeepneys will no longer be allowed to continue their operations after June 30, 2023. That is, unless they join a cooperative or a corporation. Gerard de la Peña with the details.
Victor feels that his 4-decade career as a jeepney driver is about to end. The LTFRB has set yet another deadline for jeepney operators and drivers to consolidate and modernize their units. This time, it's final. Jeepney drivers like Victor need to be part of a cooperative or corporation before June 30. If not, their franchise will end and they will no longer be allowed to ply their routes. This is difficult for Victor, especially when he only purchased his jeepney 2 years ago and has not yet recouped his investments. He said he can't afford to buy a modern unit, which is 20 times more expensive than his traditional jeepney.
Sa akin, siyempre, hindi maganda yun dahil kasi merong hanap buhay namin. Hindi naman kami makakakuha ng sinasabi nila na modern dahil sa taas. Hindi namin kakayanin. Eh siyempre, kung talagang mawawala itong hanap buhay namin, siyempre, malungkot. Di ba? Wala na, hindi ka na paano yung gastusin namin? Pangailangan ng mga anak namin sa bahay.
The LTFRB's directive does not necessarily put an end to traditional jeepneys that are practically icons of Filipino pop culture. Franchises of jeepney operators will be extended up to the end of the year if they will be able to consolidate before the deadline. If not, these units can be put to personal use and not as public transport. This is the fourth time that the LTFRB extended the deadline for operators to consolidate since the program's launch in 2017.
Binigyan pa ng pagkakataon yung mga individual operators na hindi pa nakakapag-form or nakakasali ng juridical entity or co-op or corporation para makasali sila hanggang June 30. Yung iba naman po na hindi talaga na mag-avail doon sa mobilization, mayroon pong another component na po yung social support na binibigay po ng gobyerno, ng Department of Transportation sa kanyang LTFRB. Ito po yung nasa DOLE at saka yung nasa TESDA. Meron po itong fund na naka-allocate para po tulungan yung mga drivers, operators na mag-decide to go out of the transport industry.
The LTFRB said that about 60% of public utility jeepneys in the country have already consolidated. However, the process is not a walk in the park. Operators at the Catolo Transport Cooperative in Quezon City said that the application took years to get approval. Each operator also had to shell out 40,000 for capital, while drivers need to pay 16,000 pesos each to join. Getting the loan for the initial 6 modernized units, which cost more than 2 million pesos each, is also difficult.
Marami pong proseso, kailangan pa ng medyo malaking pondo. Pero may pondo lang po kami nakalaan. Kaya lang talagang parang marami pa pong nauna sa amin.
The Transportation Department earlier called on interested parties with scrappage facilities to get accredited for the proper disposal of old and dilapidated jeepney units. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
Several areas in Davao City experienced heavy flooding due to flood waters caused by the heavy downpour Tuesday night. The national highway in Barangay Lasang, Davao City was seemingly untraversable as even large trucks were unable to cross the roads. Many individuals were also stranded, leaving them no choice but to walk in the floods. Initial data from the Davao City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office showed that over 1,000 families have been affected by the flooding. Rescue operations and forced evacuation were also conducted in low-lying and flood-prone barangays. Aside from Davao City, some areas in Davao del Norte were also flooded.
Tulo ka sa pa ang nakasinati o pag-overflow.
Tatlong ilog ang nag-overflow simula kagabi. Hanggang ngayong umaga may isang river pa na mataas pa. Itong sa May Lasang. Ang Davao River nag-overflow kaya apektado yung mga low-lying areas gaya ng Jade Valley sa Barangay Maa, Matina Crossing area sa Matina Gravahan. Nagsagawa tayo ng forced evacuation sa mga nasabing lugar.
Low-lying areas sa
After the break, a Filipino-made wearable robot that helps in rehabilitation of stroke patients has received its first international patent. We'll get more details on that when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
You're still watching the big story here on One News.
Stroke patients in the country could receive a helping hand in the near future.
That's after DLSU's wearable robot for stroke rehabilitating patients received its international patent. Mobile journalist Yeda Pascual gives us a front seat to that story.
Stroke remains the leading cause of disability and death in the Philippines, but soon a device may be able to offer a helping hand for those recovering from a stroke. De La Salle University recently received its first international patent for the development of a wearable robot for stroke patients undergoing rehabilitation. The patent for the Agapay exoskeleton wearable robot was filed in Singapore, designed to account for all the movements of the upper limbs. Agapay aims to provide post-stroke and injured patients with a cost-efficient and high-performance rehabilitation system.
Unang-una, ito ay gawa sa Pilipinas, so talagang inaasahan natin na talagang magiging mura ito at affordable. Kumpara sa mga imported na kung meron man, no, inaasahan natin ito magiging murang alternatibo para sa pag-exercise ng mga joints, ng upper extremity o yung braso at kamay ng mga pasyente na nagka-stroke.
The Agapay exoskeleton was developed with funding from the DOST Philippine Council for Health Research and Development and in partnership with the UP Manila Philippine General Hospital. The project team said the invention was developed in response to current challenges in rehabilitating stroke patients.
Ito ay gumagana sa pamamagitan ng mga microcontrollers para mapatakbo ang mga servomotors nito. Kada joint, kagaya ng elbow joint at shoulder joint, ay may motor na nagpapagalaw. Sa mga daliri at kamay, may kable na tumutulak o humihila ng kada isang daliri.
Agapay has 3 prototypes, but these are still undergoing clinical testing to ensure that it is effective and safe for the patients who will use it. Mobile journalist Yeda Pascual. We are One News.
Catholic faithful participated in the physical observance of Ash Wednesday today, marking the start of the Lenten season. Since early this morning, devotees had been flocking to churches to attend masses as priests resumed the tradition of marking churchgoers with ash on their foreheads. Over the past 2 years, priests were only allowed to either sprinkle ashes on the head or allow the faithful to put ash on their foreheads themselves due to the pandemic. But now that restrictions have been lifted, devotees are happy to welcome back the traditional Ash Wednesday practice. Some younger generation of churchgoers even expressed excitement by posting selfies of themselves with ash on their foreheads. A priest from Baclaran notes that while this is allowed, devotees should remember Ash Wednesday as a time to reflect and repent.
Itong paglagay sa noo ay hindi lang sana pagpo-post sa social media, kundi ito pagpapaalala sa atin na tayo ay dapat magsisi at pagbabalik loob sa ating Panginoon.
And before we go, maybe Filipinos aren't the only ones that noticed. President Bongbong Marcos was referenced in the latest episode of the American game show Jeopardy! The participants in the show were asked about a country with a president who assumed office in 2022 and has, quote, taken so many trips that a play on his name is Ferdinand Magellan Jr. Well, one of the contestants got the correct answer, which is the Philippines. Since his presidency, President Marcos has gone on a total of 10 foreign trips. The president earlier said he will reduce his overseas trips in 2023 as his administration needs to consolidate the investment pledges he obtained from their trips.
And that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more analysis. Ako po si Robbie Alampay.
The Big Star is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. Ako po si Gretchen Ho. Stay safe, Philippines.
And we are One News. All sides, all the time.